Good morning. Welcome to the light and love that is Unity of Lawrence. I'm so glad you came out in the cold weather. We heard from many people who are going to be on Zoom today because of this cold, so we say good morning to you as well, and we're so happy. So in Unity, we begin everything with prayer. So let's take a centering breath and open to the divine in all of us and listen to this prayer. With full hearts and open minds, we gather today to accept the endless possibilities of peace on earth and peace in our hearts. We acknowledge the existence of pain and injustice in the world, but we also acknowledge limitless love and our limitless being. We welcome our divine inheritance as co-creators, and we know that we are already standing in the light of love, of healing, and of transformation, and so it is. Amen. So I'm Cindy Smarsh, your worship assistant this morning, and Gail Ishmael is your chaplain this morning, right here. And she will be available to pray with you one-on-one right up here in the front of the sanctuary afterwards. So our chaplains will also pray for you during the week if you would prefer. There are little purple slips in the chairs in front of you if you'd like to fill out a request and either put that in the offering basket as it comes around or in the wooden box in the foyer. They will receive your prayers, and keep them confidential unless you would like them shared with the congregation. So let's start off by singing with Holly, Living in the Heart of God.
Good morning. Let's go ahead and stand together as you're willing.
place. Y'all sound great. You look beautiful. It's a great view up here, I got to tell you. So, okay. So now we want to do our unity intentions together, and they will be up here for you. So please affirm with me unity's founding principle together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the source of all good. And now our Unity of Lawrence vision statement together. United in divine love and joy, we celebrate a peaceful and abundant world for all. And our Unity of Lawrence mission statement together. We are a thriving spiritual community, sharing love, building bridges, and inspiring transformation. And now I'd love to welcome back the beautiful Harmony Level to share her special music with us this morning.
This consciousness exists within my mind, so I can perceive my experience through this life. So for some reason I chose to be here for this time. All of the sadness I feed to you inside, and we all find our own way back to the place that we start. We all find our own way back to our hearts. And all situations offer a chance to grow. And all that I meet, I was meant to see on the road. It's like I planned it myself, 'cause how else could I have known? So even the hard times, they have so much to show. And we all find our own way back to the place that we start. We all find our own way back to our hearts. The infinite creature devours itself through time, returning back the cycle that breathes new life. New life that feeds on experience of depth, intelligence of the one eternal breath. So we all find our own back to the place that we start. We all find our own way back to our hearts. So this consciousness exists within my mind, and I can perceive my experience through this life. For some reason I chose to be here for this time. So all of this gladness, I feed it to you with my lights. Thanks.
Thank you, Harmony. That was beautiful. So this morning we have with us our wonderful Beki Howlet, and she is a professional speaker, author, and certified contemplative practices teacher. She is committed to creating positive cultural change in our work environments and communities, including promoting meditation and destigmatizing mental health concerns. I just love that. Since co-founding legalburnout.com in 2020, Beki has developed and led mindfulness-based trainings for more than 13,000 legal professionals. Originally from The Dot, Beki is a proud Laurentian where she loves to stay active, including singing, spending time in nature, and spoiling her 2 Siamese cats. Welcome, Beki.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for being with us today and braving the cold. It was difficult for me to even walk from my car to the doors, so I appreciate everyone's presence here in person and through the interwebs with us. Hello, via Zoom and Facebook. And thank you, Harmony, so much for that music. I know it's kind of an interesting topic. We just got done with Valentine's Day, and perhaps you all thought, we're going to talk about love today. But I had already had a topic in mind, and that was death. And so, Kathy Moreland asked me to speak, which, please get better sued, Kathy. And, I heartily agreed. I'm not talking about love today. But I contend that through a paradoxical way, we're still talking about that theme of love. So as I was preparing last night, getting ready for bed, I, of course, popped open my lovely Meister Eckhart book of Darkness and Light, Meditations on the Path of the Wayless Way. How cool is that? And Meister Eckhart is just such a meister, if you will, of paradox. And of course, I turned very synchronistically to this poem. So I'd like to open with this today. It's entitled, The Hardest Truth. I've said this many times because it's hard to grasp. So bear with me as I say it again. You must forsake God for God's sake in order to die into life. Nothing less than this will do. This death is what God calls you to, not the God of your thinking, which only exists in your mind, but the living God. The greatest honor you can pay God is to take leave of God for God's sake. Free yourself of all that you imagine God to be. Only so can you come to live into your nothingness. There you'll find God's true goodness. And when you live like this, you'll find that the whole of your life will become love. So with that said, I want to get a little audience participation going this morning. So before we go any further, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word death? Just call it out. Transition. Change. Rebirth, that's where my head goes to. Anyone else? There are no wrong answers. Isn't it great? Beyond the veil. Grief, yes. Loss. Anyone else? Again, this is a great test. There are no right answers. Any answer works. You know, I'm surprised that we didn't have more of those instant connotations, like someone said, grief and loss. I think that's where our head generally goes sometimes and immediately when we think of death, right? We think of grief, we think of sadness, we think of that loss. We might even view death as bad, right? I'm putting that in air quotes, or sad or scary, right? For many of us, death might be our greatest fear. It can be really hard to acknowledge that inevitability of that transition, and that death can actually be necessary for our growth. Slide. So nature offers us many examples of this. These are a few photos I've actually taken from the Lawrence Riverfront Trail, my favorite place to hike here in town. You know, mushrooms, they grow out of quote-unquote dead logs, right? Dead foliage provides protection and habitat for insects. If you look closely here, you'll see a dragonfly, another symbol of transformation on that mushroom. And woodpeckers find nourishment from dead trees. Maybe you're a birder like me and you've noticed that the hummingbirds, these symbols of joy and happiness, they actually prefer the dead tree limbs to roost on. So the reality of our world is that death begets life. That's just a fancy way for meaning it generates it, it creates it. Death is a natural part of life and indeed, again, necessary to generate new and potentially more glorious ways of being. So let me start out by sharing a death about the old ways of being from my own life. I'll take you back in time here. We're going to go through my own personal Christmas carol. And so 2 Christmases ago, I was really going through it, okay? I was just really beat up, I would say, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I was dealing with a really powerful combination that holiday: family estrangement and food poisoning. So as you can, without going into too many gory details, as you can imagine, it was a holiday I will never forget. Now, many of you might, your knee-jerk reaction might be to pity me, like, oh, that sounds terrible. Well, remember back to my previous talk, From Scared to Sacred. Sometimes those quote-unquote horrible moments in life actually offer us that doorway, that opportunity to our sacred gifts. So I decided this past Christmas I was going to take it back for me. Okay, I was going to look around, I was going to say, what are the activities, what are the things I want to do this holiday season that actually bring my authentic self that joy, that true fulfillment? And I got to tell you, this is a novel concept for a recovering people pleaser. Okay, putting yourself first. We're used to putting everyone else's needs and wants before our own. In fact, we don't even have wants and needs. Isn't that fun? So truly, this was a challenge for me. And I had this thought come in. And at the time, I was kind of like, well, that's kind of a crazy thought. I had this thought, I want to go on a trip. And I want to leave on Christmas Day. So last August rolls around, I'm visiting some of my very dear friends, some of my chosen family, who I actually visit every Christmas. And they tell me, oh, we're so excited, we're actually going on a trip this year to Barcelona. I said, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. When are you leaving? On Christmas Day. And they said, you should come with us. And so I said, you know what? I think I'll do that. Slide. So I went to Spain. And I know you're not pitying me anymore, are you? So soy en la Fundación Joan Miró y el Palau de la Música Catalana. So here I am at the Museum of Joan Miró. He's a famous modernist Catalan artist. And on the right is from the Palace of Catalan Music in Barcelona, one of the coolest places I visited. I also went to Montserrat, which is in the mountains right outside of the city, as well as Girona, which is an ancient medieval walled city. They actually filmed a lot of Game of Thrones there, for any fans such as myself. And of course, I went to Barcelona. You can see the cityscape on that photo to the left. And truly, the whole region of Catalonia has my heart. It's an autonomous region of Spain. They have their own unique culture and language there. And this trip for me really represented a major milestone in my life. This was, although I'm 35 years old, this was my first time that I was traveling internationally by myself. And I realized as I was planning this trip that it was really a spiritual pilgrimage for me, my own hero's journey, if you will. So across myths and cultures around the world, we have these universal and common themes in our mythology and our storytelling. Actually, if you start looking at our stories, at films, books, we only got a couple major themes. Once you start kind of drilling down, it's like, oh, these are all repeating themselves. So we have these common, and these have kind of become known in our consciousness as the hero's journey. Author Joseph Campbell popularized that term. And so we have these common symbols of our spiritual journeys, our journeys of growth and development. So some of these themes might be slaying a dragon, maybe you're going into a really dark forest, maybe you're climbing a mountain. And of course, we have the classic Arthurian legend of the quest for the Holy Grail. And again, you start looking around, all the modern Disney princess films like Moana, Frozen, that's also a hero's journey as well. So going deeper, part of this universal mythology of the quest for the Grail is entering the forest at the darkest point. Now that's metaphorically speaking. The hero enters into the unknown to embrace the most challenging or uncertain obstacles head on. And they do this. Through this process, the hero then discovers their own unique path. So I loved Harmony's opening song in which she said, we all find our own way to the place where we start. And, critically, the hero is forging their own way. Slide. So as I mentioned, author Joseph Campbell shares with us, you enter the forest at the darkest point where there is no path. Where there is a way or a path, it's someone else's path. You're not on your own. If you follow someone else's way, you're not going to realize your potential. Let that sink in for a moment. We've got to embrace our unique individuality to realize our full potential. So again, these stories are symbolic. But if you're like me, and maybe you're on the spectrum, you might look at them perhaps literally. So back to my National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, I'm deciding, what do I want to do? And so my first order of business was, you know what sounds like heaven on earth to me? I'm going to go by myself to a monastery in the mountains for 5 days. That sounds like a perfect slice of heaven for me. Slide. So I went to, oh, that is not the right slide. Go back. Oh, okay. Well, it didn't make it in there. Well, anyway, this is at Montserrat, but we're ahead of ourselves. So Montserrat Monastery was actually founded in the year 1025. So for those who are good at math, that's actually 1,000 years in the past. They're celebrating their millennium anniversary this year. Pretty incredible. And I was pretty much cloistered in the hostel there on the monastery complex, which, very austere yet comfortable conditions for some quiet contemplation, which is what I was really seeking. I was really needing and wanting that solo spiritual time for myself. So it was only my second night there, and I had just such an intense dream. I was in the dream, and there was somebody from my past, somebody I had been very close to historically, and this person has caused caused a lot of strife and discontent, disharmony, and pain in my life. And in the dream, I was supporting this person and just showing up really in this spirit of true unconditional love and compassion, just really channeling that place of Christ consciousness within myself, which I'm not gonna lie, it's been really hard to extend that energy IRL to that person. So that was a point of radical transformation in this dream. And so I'm in the dream, and then all of a sudden I wake up. And I just have tears streaming down my face. That was weird. I don't know if anyone else has woken up crying. It was a very strange experience, and I just was like a faucet. I just couldn't stop crying. And then all of a sudden, and this is, middle of the morning. It's 5 a.m. Those who know me well know I don't get up at 5 a.m., okay? This is a miraculous event in and of itself that I'm awake at this time. And all of a sudden, I heard this inner voice in Espanol tell me, el tiempo es ahora. The time is now. And I just knew. Nothing else needed to happen. I knew I'm supposed to go climb to the summit of the mountain. So this is what greeted me when I got to the top. And just for some context here, I had to hike for 2.5 hours in the complete dark. And it was so steep that it was basically just stairs carved into the side of the mountain. So just imagine being on the stair climber for 2.5 hours in the dark. That was effectively my experience. But then I reached this summit. And I literally saw the sun come out, that light illuminate what had previously been complete darkness and cast it in an entirely new and more beautiful perspective. Now, for my own hero's journey, facing my fear wasn't going into the actual forest, right? That part was easy. And for context, I do have experience as a hiker. I'm sure my dad's sitting here like, what in the world are these decisions she is making, going into the forest in a foreign country by herself in the middle of the night? But I was prepared. But no, my fears came when to go, okay? Because I was battling those inner negative thoughts, right? The thoughts like, how could you skip Christmas? What will your family think of you? What a disappointment you are to them. No one does that. They don't skip it on their families at Christmas. Also, the thoughts about money. Oh, this is going to cost a lot of money to go on this trip. Right, those were my points of the forest darkest to me. And when we're in this darkness, when we're in a consciousness of fear, of self-doubt, we can perceive death or change or uncertainty as scary. It can be frightening to go into the unknown. But the hero's journey teaches us that by facing our fears, going into our darkness, doing that shadow work, that process in and of itself can lead us to positive transformation and indeed to the ultimate transformation, which is the death of the illusion of our separation from God. Slide. New Thought minister and author Eric Butterworth reminds us there is only one way under the sun by which a person can achieve their Mount Olympus. That is to say, achieve the realization and the unfoldment of his own innate divinity, salvation in the truest sense of the word. And that is by bringing about a radical and permanent change for the better in his own consciousness. There is no other way. How often have we let fear rule our thinking and lend itself to decision-making that is in complete opposition to our core values, our goals, our dreams? I'm here to tell you, your dreams are possible. Nay, it is your purpose and your birthright to bring them into physical manifestation. But first, we must make that decision to embrace the death of the old ways of being and to welcome that radical change in consciousness. We must embrace the death of fear, the death of victim consciousness, and the ultimate death, which is not physical death, but again, the death of our illusion of this separation between us and God. Said another way, you are always connected to God. And when we fully and truly understand this, our fears just melt away. Why would we have fear when we have the all-powerful, all-present, all-knowing God within us at all times? All is well. Now, I do recognize that perhaps more often than not, we may not have an actual voice coming in and telling us our next steps. I might be an outlier in that regard. But at least for myself, when walking the spiritual path, there have been many times, perhaps more often than not, when I felt alone and uncertain of where to go next. But maybe I don't want to make assumptions here. Anyone else? Is it just me? Am I the only one who's ever felt alone on their spiritual path here? Hold them high! Hold them high! That's right, that's right. Going through that dark night of the soul, lamenting, why me? What should I do now? And the paradox of the hero's journey is that the hero, which by the way, in case you're picking that up, the hero is us on this hero journey, right? That's us. We search all over externally for quote unquote truth with a capital T, when the paradox is that it's right there within us the entire time. As Jesus told us, the kingdom of God is within you. Full stop. Period. So how do we access that? Slide. In Lessons in Truth, Emily Cady shares this wisdom with us. Though possibly there will come times to each of us before we reach the land of milk and honey, the time of full deliverances out of all of our sorrows and troubles, when we shall come into a deep wilderness or against a seemingly impassable Red Sea, when our courage will seem to fail. Yet God says to each of us, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of Jehovah, which will work for you today. If and rather when you feel lost on the path, or you're feeling that fear, you're feeling that courage beginning to wane, stop doing for a moment and simply be. Connect to the stillness, enter the silence, connect with God, source, the universe, whatever you want to call that divine presence within each of us, because that's where your individual answers are going to lie. Every moment of our life offers us a door, a portal for new experience, for rebirth, for transformation. Death, literal and metaphoric, is an innate opportunity for us to let go of what was and allow for something new and beautiful to emerge. And ultimately, to get us closer to that realization that we are never alone. We share an inseparable connection with God, an inseparable connection, no matter where we are and what the circumstances may be. So be not afraid. Thank you.
was just a big long dream. What we consider reality. We're not so different, it seems. A fine line between you and me. Tried to wait around to see your face, but I started to think it was misplaced, or maybe I made a mistake. The slightest fall from grace. Had to get a message through to let you know I love you. I didn't want to go, but it was my time to go. I had to go, I had to go. I was called back home. So I gave you all the tools, all the strength I had to give, so you could keep on living, so you could keep on giving. All the love in your heart that I passed on to you, you'll find a new way to weather it through. Take care of those boys like I took care of you. But I had to get a message through to let you know I love you. I didn't want to go, but it was my time to go. I had to go, I had to go, I had to go. I was called back home. Left this world in good hands, 'cause I'm sure you've got a plan. Somehow you'll make us stand. Be grateful for what you're handed. Never take one breath for granted, 'cause this is why we landed here in the first place. To share this space, experience each other's face, walk along with your fate. And always do great, and always do great. I know you'll do great. But I had to get a message through to let you know I love you. I didn't want to go, but it was my time to go. I had to go, I had to go. Oh, it was my time to go. I had to go, I had to go. Oh, it was my time to go. I had to to go, I had to go, I had to go. I was called back home. But it was just a big long dream. What we consider reality, but not so different it seems. A fine line between you and me.
Thank you so much, Harmony. And as we transition into our meditation time, if it's comfortable for you, I'd invite you to close down the eyes here. Just allow your shoulders to roll back and down. Sit with a nice straight spine here. You can allow your hands to rest, palms down, the tops of your thighs. And just feel your feet grounding firmly into the earth here. And before we begin, let's go ahead and take a couple deep cleansing breaths. So go ahead now, take a deep inhale in through the nose, really fill up, feel that full body expansion. And sigh it out the mouth, let go of anything that no longer serves you. Do another deep cleansing breath together. So again, take a deep inhale in through the nose. Really feel that rib cage expanding, your collarbones lifting. And sigh it out the mouth. Allow the shoulders to drop down. And today, I'd like to share with you a poem to guide us all in our meditation. So as we meditate on this concept of being still, getting quiet, and tuning into the divine presence within each of us. So after the poem, we'll continue to meditate for a few moments in the silence, and I'll bring us back when it's time. Lost by David Wagner. Stand still. The trees ahead and the bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger. Must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes. Listen. It answers, I have made this place around you, and if you leave it, you may come back again, saying here. No two trees are the same to raven. No two branches are the same to wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. go ahead and take another deep inhale in through the nose. Make it your biggest breath of the day so far. And sigh it out the mouth. Start to gently bring yourself back to your physical body in this present moment. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Lift the corners of your mouth into a gentle smile. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back.
Oh, for all of the sadness and loss of our friends, mortality forever directs us to the end. But this gift of life is but a small glimpse of the miracle of creation we can only sense. And some are fortunate to find appreciation, while others walk through a world of sensation. And these tears in my eyes are for times of reflection. Our loved ones will follow their own direction. So let it fade away. Let it fade away. Let it fade away. Let it fade away. And these tears fall for joy, and these tears fall for sorrow. Tears fall for hope that may come back tomorrow. Trials in life that we all come to know. And these lessons are hard, but they help us to grow. And in time we may find just a small peace of mind to help us make sense of the hate and the crime. Till my time here is done, I will try to stay strong. And these tears will rain down for my friends who are gone. And let it fade away. Let it fade away. Let it fade away. Let it fade away, away, away. But I'll learn to find happiness and learn to fight fear. And I keep my heart open till new things things appear. 'Cause life is too short to get stuck feeling sorrow. When the sun rises up, it's a new day tomorrow.
Thank you guys so much, both of you. You know, what I feel like we've witnessed here is two humans sharing deeply personally through their music, through their words, sharing their journeys with us. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, both of you, for ministering to us. So now it's our time of thanks. So please join me as we hold our gifts to the community in our hands and love in our hearts. Let's affirm together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. So as the love offering is collected, let's join Holly in singing "In Beauty May I Walk."
In beauty may I walk all day long. May I walk through the seasons. May I walk. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. May I walk. 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 May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace.
Here's our prayer of thanks. Please listen. We are grateful and we bless the flow of good that supports our unity community. We stand in the knowing that the flow of good goes forth only to return again and again. And so it is. Amen. And now for our opportunities. So first, we'd like to welcome all of our guests here today. Thank you for joining us. If you want more information about Unity of Lawrence or Unity in general, there are welcome packets out in the foyer. Sunday Lunch Bunch is meeting at Big Mill, which is at 900 Mississippi Street. Everybody is welcome. So on Tuesday, we have meditation planned for 6:30. However, Mother Nature has plans as well, as you may have heard. So I'm told if there is significant snow falling, consider it canceled. Otherwise, we'll be here at 6:30. The women's group that was to meet this Thursday, Nancy Lyersoff, our leader, has decided to cancel at this time because she's very concerned about people getting out in the bitter, cold temperatures that are coming. So she is going to coordinate with Colleen Riley, who is going to lead us in an experience Thursday and get that rescheduled. And so we'll get back to you on that. The men's group and non-binary people are meeting at 7 Thursday, if the weather permits. So, you know, what am I saying to you, basically? This whole week is a, you know, place your bets. What's going to happen? What's not going to happen? The new group, Climate Consciousness, is meeting next Saturday at 2 o'clock in the sanctuary, and everybody is welcome. The leader of that is Claire DeVolder, so if you have questions about that, please reach out to Claire. Then sound immersion and frequently shift with the Society for Sacred Listening event. Say that 3 times in a row quickly. Wow, that is, wow. Is also this Saturday, February 22nd at 6:30, and see Holly if you have any questions. I know that's going to be a wow experience. We have a chance to host meals for the Mount Hope Shelter Outreach Project. That is in March, but we're looking for hosts for dinners, and there's a sign-up sheet and more information about that out in the foyer. And you can also speak to Pat and Lisa right over there, who are in charge. Thank you. Evolution Sacred Sound Lab meets next Sunday, February 23rd at 1:30 here in the sanctuary. Everyone is welcome. And join us next Sunday morning when Kelly Hunt brings us special music and the message, Calling All Angels. So now let's rise together and sing the peace song.